Taking digital photos out in the field, it's something that every adjuster has to do to document the repairs that need to be done to the loss that you're inspecting. So we're going to go over how to import those photos into your claim and then document your photos once you have them imported. Simsol doesn't recommend any particular brand of camera or model of camera. Basically comes down to what fits your budget, what you're most comfortable with. However, we do recommend that you have a camera that outputs a file format of JPEG, which is pretty standard. You'd be pretty hard pressed to find a camera that doesn't export as JPEG. JPEG is going to give you the best compression, keep your photo sizes small, and make them more manageable to work with. So I've got two different claims here, one that's got photos in it and one that does not. We'll take a look at the one that has photos in it first so you can get an idea of the layout for digital photos. Then we'll jump into the other claim and I'll go through the actual import process. So I'm first going to jump into this claim here that I know has got some photos in it. As I scroll down the claim tree, there you'll see my list of photos. The digital photos header telling me I have 20 photos in this claim. And when I click that header, you'll see right here listed in what we call a card view are all the photos in this particular claim. If there's any photo in this claim I want to look at a little more closely, I just simply find it in my list here and double click it to bring up the single image edit view. In this edit view, I've got some different options as to what I can do to this photo. I can change the image name, I can change the date it was taken, I can select who took it, in this case the adjuster. If there are any special notes that need to be put in for this particular photo, I'll enter them here in the image comments section. I can rotate the image if I need to. These buttons will let me rotate 90 degrees to the left, this one 90 degrees to the right. And if I want to rotate it manually, I'll click this button and manually enter the number of degrees I'd like it rotated. These two checkboxes here deal with annotations. I can make sure that they're displayed by clicking Show Annotations, and I can also make sure that they print with my photos by checking this box here. Annotations are added using this section down here at the bottom. To enable annotations, you'll click on this pen tool at the very bottom left, and that turns on all the different annotation tools. If I wanted to, say, draw an arrow to point something out, say to this light switch, with the arrow tool selected, I'll simply drag a line straight to that light switch and release the mouse. I don't need to save that annotation, they're all saved automatically. So if I were to get out of this image, click Done, and open it back up, my annotation will still be there. So I'm going to get out of this view for a second. Not only does Simsol provide me with this card view, all my photos are listed in the claim tree here as well, so I can go to each individual photo if I needed to and make the very same edits. So if I wanted to take a look at that Nook photo once again, I could come down here to Nook in the claim tree, highlight that, and I'd be in that edit view once again. Deleting a photo is pretty simple. I just come over here to the claim tree, right click on the photo I want to remove, and select delete. I'll get a confirmation. I'll go ahead and say yes, and that photo has been removed from the claim tree and my digital photos list. Now just keep in mind, just because a photo is in the claims tree doesn't mean it's necessarily going to print when I go to print my claim. Once I get to the print screen, I can still choose which photos I want to print and which ones I do not want to print. So it's not necessary to delete claims out of the claims tree that I don't intend to print. Sometimes it's good to just have all your photos backed up somewhere. I'll leave them in the claim file and decide which ones I want to print upon printing or converting the file to PDF. Now one last deletion option is to delete all the photos at once. If I right click on digital photos, there is an option here to multi-delete. I'll click that. This lists all the photos in this particular claim, so I can hold down my control key and select multiple photos if I wanted to delete more than one, or I could just simply right click and click on select all and delete all the photos at once if I wanted to do that as well. I'm going to leave these photos in here for now, so I'm just going to hit done. And that pretty much covers the layout for digital photos. It's very simple, very straightforward. It's hard to get lost in this section of the software. And the more you use it, the more comfortable you'll get maneuvering around editing your photos. So now that we've looked at the layout, I'm going to go into another claim and we're going to go through the actual import process. So I'm going to click Show Claims Grid at the top. That'll return me back to my claim list. I'll go to this other claim here that I know does not have photos in it yet. If I scroll down the claim tree and I go to digital photos, I'm once again presented with the card view, but there are no photos here because I haven't imported any yet. So To get started, I'll just come up to the top and click on Thumbnail Import, and this will bring up the Simsol Photo Preview screen. The Simsol Photo Preview screen serves two different functions. It allows me to actually view photos in a folder somewhere on my computer to determine whether or not those are the ones I want to import, and then it will actually let me select those photos or specific photos in that folder to import them into this claim. So the first thing I need to do is locate the photos on my computer that I want to import into this claim. Now all cameras are a little bit different when it comes to this import process, so it is important for you to know where does your camera import photos to your computer by default. If you're not sure of the actual physical location of your photos, it's always a good thing to go to the folder that contains your photos on your computer, right-click it, and go to Properties. That will give you the physical location of your photos on your computer, so when you're in this screen, you'll know exactly where to navigate to. Now I know that my photos right now are stored in my Documents folder, so I'm going to go locate those now. I'm on Windows 7, and to get to those photos, I'll click on this little floppy button here. That brings up a window called Select Directory, and under my C drive, I'll scroll down until I find the Users folder. I'll double click. Then I'll locate the folder for my account name, double click, scroll down until I find Documents, which would be my Documents folder, and there are my photos, a folder called Flood Photos that I know I had stored there before. I'll double click to open that folder and click OK. Upon clicking OK, every photo in that folder is listed in this top section of the screen. I want to stretch this out. I'll make it a little bit bigger here. The next thing I want to do is view the photos in that folder. So I'm going to come to the top and click Show Pics. The photo preview screen is now showing me all the photos in that particular folder. Now remember, I haven't imported any photos yet into this claim. I'm simply viewing the photos in that folder to determine if these are the ones I want to import, and if so, there may be some that I want to exclude, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and import them all. So before I import, there's a couple things I'll need to do. I first want to verify the date taken of these photos. So typically this date will be set to the last time that you imported, so I'm going to go ahead and correct or update that right now, and I'll click on the calendar option and select 2 days ago. Click OK, verify that my data is correct. I'll then want to verify who took these photos. I've got some different options here. I'm going to go ahead and select the adjuster. It's important to fill these out because these fields will automatically be filled out for each photo for you upon import. So you can imagine if you're importing 50, 75, or 100 photos, it saves you a lot of time to have that information filled out prior to the import. So now I'm ready to import. I'm going to come up to the top left, click Select All. That selects every photo in that folder for import, and now I'll come up to the top right and hit Done. Those photos are now being imported into my claim. If I look over to the left here, under Digital Photos, you'll now see that the count reads 21, and if I expand Digital Photos, there's all the photos listed for me, and if I click on the header, I'm back in the card view, and I can scroll up and see all the photos in this particular claim. So like we talked about before, once you get to the card view, you can always double click on a photo to get to the edit screen and make any edits to this particular photo that you need. Or I can access the same screen by just simply going up and down the list here to pick out the photo I want to view. Now you'll notice in this particular claim, all the photo names are using the actual file number that my camera assigned to it. So one thing I probably want to do is, as I'm looking at the digital photos in card view, is go to each one and actually label them what I think that they should be. That might include titling the photo by the name of the room that you've actually taken, or in this case, this looks to be some stereo equipment that got damaged, so I could call this stereo equipment. And you'll see that the name in the claim tree updates as I'm typing it in. So once I hit Done, back over into my list, now I see stereo equipment, which will help me distinguish which photos are which in the claim tree. So that's digital photos. In the next video, we'll be talking about how to copy these photos from one claim to another.